Daniel Harris, just coming to you with a quick market update. So a lot of people out there are familiar that things are going pretty well in the Darwin property market at the moment. Obviously we live and breathe it though, so just trying to add a bit of detail of that and educate those that aren't aware. So last month being April, Darwin was the #1 performing capital city in Australia. For the quarter, it was also #1 across all the capital cities, 3.4% growth for the quarter. I think we need to explain too that a lot of this data, there's a bit of a lag period, so the deals we're doing today can take 45, 60 days for those properties to settle. So we know for a fact that the deals we've been doing the last 2 months aren't reflected in this data yet. So do expect that to jump quite a bit. Median values. So Darwin is still by far the cheapest capital city in Australia. That is no question one of the reasons we're seeing the influx of investors in our market at the moment. That and the fact that our rentals are amongst the highest in the country. So it sort of becomes a bit of a no-brainer for investors when prices, sale prices are cheap and your rents are here. They have had in the past other places to go and have a crack at first. So we've seen what's happened in Perth. Darwin does tend to follow Perth. If ever there was a capital city to follow, Darwin's like the little brother that follows Perth. They're normally counter-cyclical to the other southern capitals. So that's a really interesting one. Now, where is this growth coming from? A lot of people ask me. So without question, the most affordable houses in our market is driving the growth. So I'll use Maldon as an example. If you'd asked me, or anyone, I think, a year ago that Maldon had become one of the most sought after suburbs in Australia, probably would have got laughed at, but that is the case. We've got properties that were transacting sort of 360, 380, middle of last year. Those sort of properties are now selling in the early 500s. So that's a great example of the sheer demand for houses, more so than units. The units are definitely getting better, but the houses in the affordable suburbs, so your Maldons, your Greys, your Woodruffs, these sort of suburbs, your Karamas, Mille Lacs. So basically anything under 650,000 at the moment, a house is in high demand, and we're seeing an environment where the agents have got so many buyers for these properties that a lot of them aren't even making it to the open market, which I know is certainly frustrating for some of the owner-occupiers looking out there. So my best advice to you is to make sure you're giving your details to the agents so they're well aware and getting you through those properties. Obviously a lot of those are rented as well, so they lend themselves to just being sold to an investor. Certainly I know from my own experience, if I've got a property at the moment that's about to become vacant, certainly keen to traditional real estate, get it presented its best, market it properly and take it to the open market to get the best possible result if you're a seller. So hopefully that gives a bit of an insight into that sector. The mid-tier as well, so pretty much rather than being geographic, anything in the low to mid-tier of our market is where all the action is at the moment. So that's what's seeing the vast majority of the growth. The upper end of the market, well, it's been pretty healthy for a few years now. It didn't get as affected by the interest rates when they shot up. A lot of people buying those homes, those $1 million plus type homes, certainly a bit more financially established, so weren't as affected by the interest rate hikes. I know I do a lot in the rural area, so we're looking at properties that used to go in the 5s are now going in the 6s. The ones that were in the 6s are going in the 7s. The ones that are in the 7s are going in the 8s and so forth. And the ones in the 9s that might have been a mid-9 property, they're now all sort of cracking $1 million. So we're seeing some real growth at the coalface there. Do we expect to see it continue? Absolutely. We've got an environment here at the moment where there's just simply not enough stock for the demand. And until that situation changes, prices are going to keep going up. We've got interest rates just had a drop. We'll probably get 1, 2 more, probably 2 before the end of the year. No one knows for sure. And that's going to add a bit more pressure to the market as well. So hope that's helpful. If you've got any questions, give me a call. Dan Harris, 0430 350 631.
Next door